Well, folks, I'll tell you what, there's a guy tonight who has been in this music industry for a long time. He's one of the star makers from back. I'm going to test my memory here, and I'm going to go 86, 87, but I'm sure I'll be there corrected. And it's, of course, legendary Australian country artist James Blundell. James, thanks for joining me, mate.
Pleasure with you, Darren. And 87, you were right. You would have beaten the eggheads on that one.
There we go. 1987. It's a world away, isn't it?
I'm fond of saying it was late last century because, you know, when you're at school and you get given history lessons and things that weren't medieval, late last century. So I reckon there's the dinosaurs, there's medieval, and there's late last century.
Well, I'm going to indulge the listener for just a minute, James, and say at the CMC Awards this year, I was lucky enough to be standing with you and the 2009 Star Maker winner, very own local Liam Brew, standing there having a drink with both of you guys, and I'm standing there going, have a look at these guys. It's 20 odd years apart, but there they are, two legendary Star Maker winners.
He's a great bloke. I get very frustrated on his behalf. He's so talented and he's such a great performer. And you've actually just reminded me because I've been head down, ass up since those awards, and I haven't been in touch with him because I'm dragging him out to the farm to do some writing, and we've been trying to do that 5 years. He's a very talented boy.
Well, I'm going to take young Liam to task as well because mind you, this isn't his fault. As everyone knows, Tracy's been in for surgery, and it had to get pushed forward a bit. Normally they push it back, but they pushed it forward, and Liam was going to come in and co-host while she was away, but everything happened so quickly we weren't able to do it. So cheers to Liam and the family anyway, and we'll try and do it over the next couple of weeks. We'll get him here in the hot seat.
I was just going to say, mate, ring his mum and she'll kick his bum and he'll be in there in a heartbeat. She's great, that chick. She's fantastic.
Yes, I can see Michelle just jumping in there straight away and getting it done.
Yeah.
We better talk.
You get to that radio station now.
we better talk a bit about James Blundell. Now, just recently, you reminded me the other day, as I said, Tracy's been in the Royal Brisbane Hospital. I had to go for a walk around there the other day, and I started singing a James Blundell song. I didn't realise just how hilly the hills of Brisbane are.
There you go. Everybody that visits there sees the city, Eagle Farm, man, you get stuck out the back end towards Mount Coot, you're going uphill very quickly.
And it was picturesque. And one of the things that I see, and we're going to talk about the new single tonight, Casarina, one of the things is this is really, truly Australia. You've gone right back to your Australian roots with these songs, haven't you?
Yes, I have, and I really appreciate you making the observation. I was actually speaking to somebody half my age yesterday who knew all the albums all the way through, and she was picking the ones that deviated away from the Bush ideology and were more sort of exploratory, and to her they weren't the ones she liked, but the ones that were more visual about our culture made sense, whether or not they were about something like Time on His Hands from Hand It Down through to Hills of Brisbane. As long as they were talking about things that she could relate to or her age group could relate to, she found it satisfying. So, I think what happens is, as a writer, you hone your craft and you get very spare. You try to do as much as you can in as little words as possible. And when it makes sense, one of the most gratifying things about Hills of Brisbane is everybody that loved the city has said, that's right, you did right. And I go, thanks, that's all I wanted to be. Because after that, it's up to the listener, it's a song, and everybody has subjective opinion. So, as long as it's accurate, I'm happy.
And what does Casarina mean to you?
Well, it's a bit of an interesting one. It started as a fox shooting song. You wouldn't believe that, but I was sitting on the veranda of a beautiful place down in the Hunter Valley on a mushroom music songwriters retreat with an amazing woman called Kim Ritchie. And Kim and I have written a lot. We wrote Movement of the City together. We've written this together. We've got another one that'll be on this album. And our cabin was on the far left of the block, and it was all grass. And there was a watercourse through there with a whole heap of silky oaks, casarina trees there. And Kim was looking off into the mid-distance thinking of some words, and I saw this fox come streaking out in the open, turn around and furtively duck back into the casarina. So I was saying to Kim, that's interesting. I wonder how many animals and secrets those silky oaks have harboured over their lives, and she sort of came back and said, that's it, that's what we're going to write about. So it's a very nostalgic tune. It can be either perceived as a murder mystery or one of those things where you get to a certain stage in your life going, I would just like to have that that period of time again, I would behave so very differently.
You know, it's great. One of the things I love about doing this program is getting an opportunity to talk to the people that have written a song behind it, because interpretation is a wonderful thing. People are going to they're going to get their own feeling about the song, and it could be that, you know, someone's grown up with living beside a casuarina tree and all of a sudden it gives them a different memory. That must be pretty powerful for you too.
Well, this is the thing, and you do take your own experiences and try and make them applicable to everyone. Anybody who's lived where those trees are endemic knows that there's no sound quite like a coal or a wind through silky oaks. They've got a soul. They sort of moan and sigh, and they, you know, because they're usually around watercourses, there's all this sort of mystery to them, and it bears noting. You know, it was, and interestingly, because it was such a visual sort of idea for me, to my co-writer, Kim Ritchie, it was a girl's name. And I thought, well, there you go. You know, she said, oh, that's a lovely name. Have you got a daughter? Do you know anybody called Casuarina? I said, that's the name of a tree. She said, oh, that's a gorgeous name. So, you know, you get to that, even at the point of writing, there's an interpretation there. You know, it's a different one.
Now, we're so glad we're speaking to James Blundell here tonight on Tracy and the Big D. And if you're not sure, Tracy is away for another couple of weeks, but hopefully she'll be back on deck shortly. Now, James, you're going to be right here on the sunny coast this Friday, if I check my calendar correctly.
The J at the Noosa Junction, and I've never been there. I haven't played there, and there are not too many places I can say I don't know what that place is. So I'm very much looking forward. Always loved Noosa. I've watched it grow up, and, you know, parts of me go, oh my God, parts of me go, it's still Noosa. So looking forward to that, then down to Ipswich on Saturday night, and then start revving up for the Broad Beach Country Music Festival. If you've not been to that, that's something you've got to do too. Yeah, I
had the privilege of being to the first one a couple of years ago and having a look at that massive crowd that turned up to see yourself right there in the main street of Broadbeach. They've really turned a great street festival, created a great street festival through the blues and then now into the country, haven't they?
It's my favourite street party in Australia. Yeah, I'm so glad you were at the first one, because I remember I was working quite closely with the Broadbeach Alliance, which is the group that steer blues, jazz and country in their three events. And they were, you know, pretty cautious. They said, well, you might get 10,000 people. They had 35,000 people across that first 4-day event. And then they doubled that last year, and they're looking at doubling that again this year. So, you know, I'm glad you were at the first one, because it was such a success. It's just going to get busier and busier. But you know, there's so much accommodation and so many places to eat. It's one of the great sort of precincts for entertainment on the East Coast. So they've got it absolutely right there.
And folks, don't think there's anything wrong with putting on a free festival, because I tell you what, those bars and the clubs along there, they get a feed out of this, don't they?
Absolutely right. It's a really good business model in that the Alliance gives they charge an annual fee to all the businesses that are in the area. So it's totally reasonable. I'm not looking to say what it is, but it's a great less than you'd think. But that gives them extended trading hours, access to security, all the things that as individual small businesses they wouldn't be able to do. And the place stays awake till 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, it really is. It's great. Yeah, but I digress too, because it's more important that I get the people who are up around you who can't get down to the Gold Coast to come up to the door. If you want a night out, we can pretty much promise we'll send you home with a headache, or if not a headache, it will be on Saturday morning. So, yeah, come up to the Noosa gig too. I can't wait to be there.
And we'll give that a plug before the night's out, give you all the details on that, folks, and do that. Of course, you can always go on the Tracy and the Big D webpage there, and it'll have all the details updated on there as well. Now, James, before I let you go, you do have a new album upcoming?
Indeed. It's called Come On In, and that was resulting from a conversation with a wonderful, very dear friend who's also my publisher. And he said, there's something about what you do. I don't know, it's a bit like you're sort of a step removed from the audience. That's why it's ridiculous. I mean, I live pretty much on the coalface. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, this next album will invite everybody in, like Come On Into the House. So the album's called Come On In, and it will be released on Red Rebel Records, which is run by a woman called Karen Waters, who I just adore, late July.
Well, we're looking forward to that, mate. I know you've got to go. I do thank you for your time tonight, and look forward to catching up with you. If we don't get a chance to get up to Noosa this weekend on Friday, you can get out to Ipswich. I know we've got listeners right around southeast Queensland and beyond listening in, and just jump on the website too and find out about James Blundell. See when he's going to be in your area next. He really is an Australian music legend. We're going to go out with a new song now, Casuarina, and keep your eyes peeled for plenty of new music. James Blundell, absolute pleasure tonight, mate.
Always, and catch you soon, mate.